over student fees. Why are you quitting now? Surely you're a national name.
Well, it was my responsibility to get the issues that young people were facing, specifically tuition fees and others, to the top of the agenda, and I'm incredibly proud of what we've managed to achieve. But we do go into a different landscape next year that presents a whole range of other issues, and I think it's best for NUS and indeed for me, for that new era to be led in by a new president.
I mean, the fact of the matter is you've come under quite a lot of duress, haven't you? I mean, we saw in Manchester you had to be rescued by the police. I mean, you're not a popular figure.
Well, every NUS president comes under criticism from certain quarters, and in truth it's been no different for me. But the scale of the issues that we've faced mean that students are a great deal more exercised. But I think that the overwhelming majority of students support the responsible actions that we've taken, and we can't allow NUS to get hijacked by the Socialist Workers' Party and others.
I mean, do you think you've been too soft? Because you did very much condemn violent demonstrations and the destruction we saw here in London and elsewhere, and there seem to be some people who think that doesn't really reflect the student mood.
I don't think there's any kind of credible suggestion that NUS have been tough. I think if you consider the way in which politicians were seriously put through the mill on this issue, it was the biggest backbench rebellion in the history of the Liberal Democrat Party, the closest vote this coalition has faced to date. And on that basis, I'm incredibly proud. I'm never going to sit here and condone violence. And if students want someone to do that, well, they'll have to take a radical change of direction. But that won't happen under my watch.
I mean, do you think that is what's going to happen, that the next leader will be tougher? Because I've noticed some comments about taking control of the student union, of the need for, I think there is a kind of militant wing basically saying you're out of touch.
Oh, of course. I mean, every union has a militant wing, and NUS is no different. But there is absolutely no chance whatsoever that they'll get anywhere near holding my post, or indeed any credible post within the organisation. We need to continue representing the overwhelming majority of students that care about their day-to-day issues and not inciting the revolution, because that won't get us anywhere.
I mean, what happens to you now? Because I imagine you've been in office of the NUS for quite a long time now.
I've been around for a few years. I finish officially in June, and like lots of other graduates
you're going to get
now,
a real job.
I'm going to have to go out and get a proper job like everyone else.
And are you attracted by politics?
I was originally. I'll have to wait and see what kind of comes up. But I genuinely care about education most, and that's where I suspect I'll look to next.
But I mean, a lot of NUS leaders go on and become Labour MPs. Is that
some of them do? I'm not particularly looking at that as a career option for me. I care about the role that education has in transforming lives.
Now, you said in your resignation statement that you believe student action has brought the coalition to its knees. That said, the plans are still going ahead, aren't they, to put up tuition fees and all the rest of it? So in that sense, you haven't defeated the government.
We didn't defeat the government on the issue of tuition fees, but we certainly brought a new realm of kind of protest to the forefront. We were the first organisation that really challenged the austerity measures in a serious fashion. And I think we've started to see government U-turns on other issues, which I'm not claiming credit for, but it did start a mood in this country where the government are going to have to think twice about how they apportion these cuts, which I still think are too deep and too fast.
But on the central issue, fees are going to go up. You admit defeat on that?
Well, the legislation has passed, but we will certainly not giving up our opposition to the tuition fee proposals, nor indeed looking at other ways in which we can try and ensure a better deal for students.
And are we going to see more mass demonstrations?
Well, we are mobilising for the TUC's national demonstration on the 26th of March, and I'm sure we'll see ongoing protests as universities look to set their price, and we'll hold to the government to their promise that only more than £6,000 should be charged in exceptional circumstances.
And if you look back on the period, this very, very intense period that you've had as president of the National Union of Students, what mistakes do you think you made?
Well, I don't look at it like that. Perhaps won't surprise you. I'm very proud of what we've achieved to get our issue to the top of the agenda in a difficult political climate. I think that we've acted responsibly, and I have to say I'd do everything all over again if I had that second chance.
Aaron Porter, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Adam.
This is Sky News on our website, skynews.com. Is it time for Colonel Gaddafi to go? You can read Adam's take on the crisis in Libya online. And from public to private, who is best placed to run Britain's services? That's what we're going to be discussing after the break. Don't go away.
What are you guys doing?
I'm making a documentary.
Did you know it's kind of dangerous out there?
Well, I spent a lot of time in Afghanistan.
I think it's worse than Afghanistan.
The brand new 5-part series starts with Chicago, Ross Kemp Extreme World, tonight at 9, Sky 1 HD.
Asha would ask you something, if she could. She'd ask you to save her life. But she's too exhausted. She's starving. She'd look you in the eye. She'd ask again. if she thought someone, somewhere, had the heart to help. If Asha could ask you, would you help? You can help. You can save children's lives by calling Save the Children today. To help a child survive, will you give just £2 a month? Please give your support today by calling 0800 197 8282. Please, help a child like Asha right now. We know what it takes to save a child's life. The solutions are simple, but we need your help. £2 can buy the food to keep a child alive. Asha can't ask you, but we can. Please, will you stop children dying? Call 0800 197 8282 and give £2 a month. Thank you.
I was like most blokes, ballroom dancing. You're having a laugh. I've given you a bash. No, I'm hooked. Mind you, all this gear doesn't come cheap. Still, Aviva saved me a few quid on my car insurance. 12 weeks free they gave me. No bad, eh?
Want 12 weeks free on this year's car insurance? Go direct. Get the Aviva deal.
So I'll see you back at the hotel.
Okay, see you later.
To learn a new language, you have to experience it, be a part of it, learn by intuition. That's how you learn with Rosetta Stone. See how fast and easy it is to learn a new language with this interactive free demo CD.
Hola.
Hola, buenos días.
Quiero comprar unas manzanas.
¿Manzanas verdes o rojas?
Manzanas rojas.
Our unique program surrounds you in the language, matching pictures to words, the same way you learn to speak as a child. Learn at your own pace and track your progress. And our speech recognition technology gets you speaking faster with the correct pronunciation. That's why millions around the world have discovered how effective Rosetta Stone is. Call 0800 2800 926 now for your free demo CD and see how easily you too can learn a new language. Rosetta Stone is so effective, we offer a 6-month money-back guarantee. Call now for the fast way to learn a language, guaranteed.
Does more privatisation mean more power to the people? David Cameron seems to think so. In an article for today's Daily Telegraph newspaper, the Prime Minister says complete transformation is needed in the public sector to improve standards.
Well, with us now are the two Neils. Furthest from me, Neil O'Brien of Policy Exchange, and also here Neil Lawson of Compass, two Westminster think tanks. And here it is, Neil O'Brien, Cameron's public sector revolution. Is this really a revolution that the Prime Minister is talking about?
Well, I think we'll need to wait and see. So in some areas, I think the government actually should probably be going further. So, for example, the government have said that there aren't going to be any profit-making providers coming into the school system. Personally, I find it, I think if they are going to turn around a lot of failing schools, not just a few, but really a huge number of them, they probably are going to need to try and get the private sector involved.
Why is private and the profit motive better than public service, to put it at its crudest?
Yeah, so over the last 10 years, we've spent a lot more on our public services. In fact, increased spending more than any other industrialised country ever. But actually, productivity in the public sector has fallen, while productivity in the private sector has gone shooting up. And there's lots of different reasons for that. One is that there is less innovation in the public sector. And secondly, there are much bigger problems with trade unions, low morale, low productivity, all those kind of problems that we used to have in the rest of our economy in the 1970s, but we still have in the public sector.
Neil, also it has to be said that successive prime ministers, wherever they come from, do tend to express frustration with the performance of the public service and want to reform it.
Completely, and that's one of the realms in which they operate, so they have big opinions on this stuff. I find it kind of almost amusing that we think that we want to bring into public services the ethos and practices of places like the banks, which have failed so spectacularly. We do need to improve productivity. Neil's right. Things did improve a lot over the last 13 years. Our schools and hospitals are a lot better. People feel that, and they know that.
A lot more money went in.
It did. A lot more money went in, but they are better, and people realise that and they recognise that. But this notion that just the private sector has the answer, I don't think that works in the public sector at all. You can't translate Tesco's into schools and hope that's going to work. You haven't got the capacity, the resources in terms of the kind of stuff. Tesco's throw away 20% of their goods every night. You can't have that excess capacity for choice in public services. It just doesn't work like that. So this isn't going to work.
The point that David Cameron's making, though, that is that these public services are effectively monopolies and you need to take a battering ram to break them open, and that's what he's suggesting. Do you agree?
Well, I think things can always be improved, and everyone across the political spectrum should be looking to see how they can improve schools and hospitals and the rest. The way I think to do it is not to to pretend that the private sector is the answer, or even to use the kind of New Labour targets and bureaucracy. The people in the service are the ones that ought to be mobilised in order to improve efficiency, not just on a one-off bringing competition or targets, but on an everyday basis. The people who produce the services at the sharp end and the people who use the services at the sharp end. That's where I think the focus of reform should be.
Neil O'Brien, what do you think about that? Should the people be running them? Because if they are privatised and private companies are brought in to run these crucial services, is there a danger that profits actually get in the way of what they're supposed to be doing?
Well, funnily enough, I was listening to Neil, and actually a lot of what he's talking about, the government are doing, they aren't just bringing in private companies. This is partly also about bringing in lots of charities and voluntary groups. For example, I met some people who are trying to set up a new school the other day, a whole group of black community activists from South London who are just fed up with their kids having to go to the worst school. So this is about the kind of people power that Neil was talking about, actually, rather than just the private sector. And also they kind of agree with you, and they are trying to get rid of all these kind of forests of targets and kind of micromanagement, inspection and regulation, because that approach really just didn't drive up standards over the last decade. What actually works, Tony Blair used to talk about how it was standards, not structures, but it turns out without the right structures, without competition of the kind that the government are talking about today, then you don't get good standards and you get falling productivity.
I mean, the problem is potentially with this, as you say, you have various bodies, private bodies, charities, all the rest getting involved. There's going to be a certain element of who's in charge here, isn't there? But the government will be able to say, well, not us. So in that sense, there's a shirking of responsibility for what the public expect.
Well, you say shirking, you could put it a different way. So if you're putting the power in the hands of the users of these services, be it schools, if you can choose where you send your kid to school, then it's not so much that the government are shirking their responsibility, it's that they're giving you control over it. If you're not happy with the school that your kid's having to go to at the moment, other schools, better schools will be able to expand, you'll be able to take your kids there. And Neil said you have to have surplus capacity to do that. But it's true, there's a lot of surplus places in our school system at the moment, nearly more than 10%. But it's just all the surplus places are in the worst schools. So I do think that this is an important reform, and with this kind of approach, breaking up these monopolies, introducing more choice, that really is the way you get better productivity and, in the end, much better public services.
Neil Lawson, is this another euphemism under the umbrella of the big society just for cuts?
Well, it may be. I don't know. I tend to try and take people at their word and not try and guess whether there's a hidden agenda. I think it's quite difficult to introduce a big society when you're cutting public services. It's very difficult to volunteer for the library if there's no library and all of that. But the people who'll be licking their lips today over this announcement will be the Capitas, the Sercos, the big outsourcing companies, and they're driven by short-term profit demands to return, a maximum return to their shareholders. Now, do we think that that's the motive to improve public services? I mean, Neil talks about competition being the motive, and this is the essence of the difference. I don't believe that competition is the essence of the way in which we improve public services. I think it's through cooperation.
But on balance, perhaps leaving aside the railway industry, wouldn't we have to say that privatisation of nationalised industries has been a success in this country?
Well, I think we have to look at entities like the banks who don't really compete. They're all exactly the same. It doesn't matter which bank you go to, they're all rubbish.
Yeah.
They're big they are big monopolies. Well, I don't think they're very good.
All those things.
Well, I don't think anything of those. BT, can I get my broadband, organised and sorted out? Will they respond to my calls? Am I just left? I'm sure I should. Are you just left waiting in limbo by these big monopolies? None of these organisations work. You need to break them down, but you need to break them down around people and democracy, not around competition.
Well, I think that the whole point of the government's thing today is about introducing more competition. They don't want it to just turn into a big private sector monopoly. They want lots of small groups to come in and break up those big monopolies too.
I know there's going to be lots more to talk about. Thank you both.
As a slight chill spreads across Melbourne, will we'll find a way to perk you up.
Well, it's going to be mostly cloudy with rain and hill snow for many, although northern Scotland will be mainly dry. Southern Scotland will see the rain and snow becoming largely confined to the east by evening, but western parts could see the odd shower. There's the chance of further showers for western Scotland tonight, but most places will turn dry with the rain and snow over eastern Scotland clearing. It will be mainly frost-free under cloudy skies. Tuesday will stay cloudy, although there'll be some sunshine around the Moray Firth, with rain moving into the southwest during the late morning and afternoon. Further south now, England, Ireland and Wales will be cloudy with outbreaks of rain likely almost anywhere, heaviest and most persistent in the north and over the west country. That will die out from the west later, becoming largely confined to the northeast England by evening. The rain will mostly clear England overnight, but Ireland and Cornwall are going to see prolonged heavy rain moving in later. Tuesday now will be dry in the east, wet in the west.
Weather updates, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
Well, no half-term break for us. That was Bolton & Co for today. Tomorrow we're going to be one step closer to the 2012 Olympics as London's Velodrome is unveiled.
And coming up next, all the breaking stories, including the very latest from Libya and from Egypt, as David Cameron becomes the first Western leader to visit there since the government was overthrown. Afternoon Live coming up next.
How else can you entertain your family for as little as £4 extra a week?
Another giveaway.
Upgrade to Sky Movies and get access to hundreds of different movies each week.
Not bad.
Monster premieres like Clash of the Titans, just one of the latest movies available each week.
Amazing.
Want to watch at a time that suits you?
Tell me.
For Sky HD customers at no extra cost, our premieres are available all week to watch on Sky anytime.
That's really good.
To upgrade now, call 08442 410 621.
That's me, over 30 years ago. The same time Sun Life Direct introduced affordable life cover plans for the over 50s. In fact, their guaranteed over 50 plan is the most popular plan of its type in the UK. It's a straightforward way of helping with funeral costs or leaving a cash gift for your loved ones. If you're aged 50 to 85, you're guaranteed to be accepted without a medical, and you can start a plan from as little as £6 a month. As long as you keep paying your premiums after you've had the plan for 2 years, a fixed cash sum will be paid out when you're gone. Call this number now for an information pack and you'll get a free Parker pen just for inquiring. Plus, your first month's premium is free and you can choose a welcome gift. To find out more, call Sun Life Direct at their UK call centre now on 0800 141 2000 or visit sunlifeplan.co.uk.
I was on my way to do a repair when I tripped on a cable that had been left near the top step. I was badly hurt and off work for weeks. I called First for Lawyers to help me claim the compensation I needed.
If you've been injured in an accident in the last 3 years that wasn't your fault, call First for Lawyers now. We could tell you in minutes if you can make a claim. We offer a no-win, no-fee service, so it won't cost you a penny, and you'll keep 100% of your compensation. Call 0800 567 7844 now or visit firstforlawyers.com.
When my Rachel arrived 3 years ago, I gave up my job. I always wanted to go back to work, but it had to fit in with looking after a small child. That's why I took an ICS teaching assistant course. Oh, it was great, I could study at home. All the course material arrived through the letterbox. I got all the support I needed online. So now, I'm a working mum at the nursery. I know a lot of mums here want to go back to work. Jane, over there, she's taken an ICS child psychology course. See ya! Hey, that's the great thing about ICS. There are so many courses to choose from. Childcare, beauty therapy, even starting your own business. If it hadn't been for ICS, I'd never have found out how much fun it is working with young children. Go on, invest in yourself. Call ICS now on 0800 056 5418.
revolution, because that won't get us anywhere.
I mean, what happens to you now? Because I imagine you've been an officer of the NUS for quite a long time now.
I've been around for a few years. I finish officially in June, and like lots of other graduates
You're gonna get
now,
a real job.
I'm going to have to go out and get a proper job like everyone else.
And are you attracted by politics?
I was originally. I'll have to wait and see what kind of comes up, but I genuinely care about education most, and that's where I suspect I'll look to next.
But I mean, a lot of NUS leaders go on and become Labour MPs. Is that
some of them do
over student fees? Why are you quitting now? Surely you're a national name.
Well, it was my responsibility to get the issues that young people were facing, specifically tuition fees and others, to the top of the agenda, and I'm incredibly proud of what we've managed to achieve. But we do go into a different landscape next year that presents a whole range of other issues, and I think it's best for NUS, and indeed for me, for that new era to be led in by a new president.
I mean, the fact of the matter is you've come under quite a lot of duress, haven't you? I mean, we saw in Manchester you had to be rescued by the police. I mean, some people think that doesn't really reflect the student mood.
I don't think there's any kind of credible suggestion that NUS have been tough. I think if you consider the way in which politicians were seriously put through the mill on this issue, it was the biggest backbench rebellion in the history of the Liberal Democrat Party, the closest vote this coalition has faced to date. And on that basis, I'm incredibly proud. I'm never going to sit here and condone violence. And if students want someone to do that, well, they'll have to take a radical change of direction. But that won't happen under my watch.
I mean, do you think that is what's going to happen, that the next leader will be tougher because you're not a popular figure?
Well, every NUS president comes under criticism from certain quarters, and in truth it's been no different for me. But the scale of the issues that we've faced mean that students are a great deal more exercised. But I think that the overwhelming majority of students support the responsible actions that we've taken, and we can't allow NUS to get hijacked by the Socialist Workers' Party and others.
I mean, do you think you've been too soft? Because you did very much condemn violent demonstrations and the destruction we saw here in London and elsewhere, and there seem to be noticed some comments about taking control of the student union, of the need for, I think there is a kind of militant wing basically saying you're out of touch.
Oh, of course. I mean, every union has a militant wing, and NUS is no different, but there is absolutely no chance whatsoever that they'll get anywhere near holding my post, or indeed any credible post within the organisation. We need to continue representing the overwhelming majority of students that care about their day-to-day issues and not inciting them.